Turning now to the Capitol, the Senate has passed its version of President Trump's budget bill called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. He wants it passed by the 4th of July, but the bill still has a long way to go before it reaches the president's desk. Erica Brown gets us caught up on today's developments from Capitol Hill.
Touring an immigration facility in Florida Tuesday, President Trump found out the Senate passed his budget bill.
The big, beautiful bill just passed in the Senate.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you.
The vote was 50-50, forcing Vice President J.D. Vance to cast a tiebreaker.
The Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
3 Republican senators voted with Democrats against the bill. Susan Collins from Maine, Tom Tillis from North Carolina, and Rand Paul from Kentucky. Lisa Murkowski from Alaska was undecided, but switched to a yes vote Tuesday morning.
They chose to add more pork and subsidies for Alaska to secure that vote.
Murkowski secured help to ease some of her state's burden for SNAP, the food assistance program, as well as tax cuts for Alaskan fishing villages and whaling captains.
Senator Paul said that your vote was a bailout for Alaska at the expense of the rest of the country. That's what Senator Paul said.
I have an obligation to the people of the state of Alaska.
The fight over the president's budget bill now moves back to the House, where changes that were made on the Senate side could threaten its ultimate passage.
We are trying to do the basic math of understanding what the deficit's going to go up. And I've not heard one person irrefutably tell me that they're not going to be higher deficits over the next 5 years.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants a vote Wednesday on the Senate bill, despite concerns from some of his members. The House Rules Committee is already working on the bill, the first step ahead of any possible vote. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump says he wanted the bill to be signed ahead of the 4th of July, but this morning he says he would be flexible with the timeline if needed. He is headed back to the White House to lobby House members for their support. Senator John Cornyn voted yes, saying, quote, "This bill puts Texans first by avoiding a massive tax increase on hardworking families, making historic investment to help secure our southern border, reducing financial barriers for Texans, exercising their Second Amendment rights, and other priorities like reimbursing Texas for Operation Lone Star." That was Governor Abbott's border security program. The Texas Democratic Party calls the measure the billionaire boot-licking bill and says, quote, "Trump Republicans want to add $3.3 trillion to the debt, shovel boatloads of cash to the top 1%, and shift all the costs to the rest of us. For the first time in American history, the richest people in this country will pay a lower tax rate than their secretaries, waiters, or golf caddies. It's disgusting," unquote. For more perspective on this bill, let's bring in LeTourneau political science professor Dr. John Barrett. Dr. Barrett, thanks for joining us. From a political strategy standpoint, what factors contributed to the bill's passage today?
Well, this is a very unusual bill as far as the way the politics are working out, because the Republican Party has traditionally been the party that is more hesitant to add to the deficit. And so, through some kind of behind the scenes strong arming, you're seeing Republicans kind of grudgingly, some of them grudgingly go along with this despite the increase that it's going to cause to the deficit. So that's one of the interesting things about the politics of this bill.
3 Republicans sided with Democrats. The vice president had to break the 50-50 tie. What does this say about the bill's future in the House?
Well, I think the bill will easily pass the House. The House has always been a bit more loyal to Trump. It's kind of showing a snapshot of how the parties are in transition, because the curious thing here, right, is the tax cuts are largely going to benefit higher income households that are increasingly voting for Democrats, while the Medicaid cuts are going to hurt lower income households that are increasingly voting for Republicans. And so you've got an interesting transition here to where in some ways the political logic here doesn't line up as it would, because things are kind of evolving in both parties.
Dr. Barrett, everybody at home watching this unfold, it's still not finished yet, of course, but why should people at home here in East Texas care about what's happening and the impact this could possibly have?
Well, one of the big impacts is going to be an increase in the debt. And so that's going to accelerate the crisis with Social Security. So there's going to be some very difficult choices that are approaching quicker as far as do we need to raise taxes or, cut benefits to Social Security in order to keep that program going. So that's going to be one thing that's going to impact a lot of people in East Texas. And another thing is just the rural healthcare system. It's under a lot of strain, and the cuts to Medicare are going to make that challenging. And so that's going to be something else that impacts the local community.
All righty, Dr. John Barrett, thank you for your insight.
Thank you.